Welcome to Real Estate Success DFW, the podcast where top producing agents from Dallas-Fort Worth come together to share their stories and strategies behind their success. I'm Shaune Corbett, your host, and with over 300 million sold in the local real estate market and the honor of being best of breed multiple times, I know what it takes to make it in this market. Each episode, we're going to dive into the world of real estate, learning from the very best in the industry. If you're ready to level up your game, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hey everyone, thank you for joining me again for Real Estate Success DFW. I have got Lauren Hilliard with me. She is local. She's not too far from me, and she has sold a ton of real estate. She's got a really good story. I want her to have a chance to share some of that, and then why her business went a certain direction and how she's really been able to maximize that and help make money in that. How are you, Lauren?
I am fabulous. You know, the weather's cooling down here in DFW, as you know. We're not too far from each other, you know, just a few miles, and just feeling blessed to be busy, as my mom always said.
It's always fun that I can get on the phone with people that are close, because it's not too often. Normally, you know, to reach out to like top performing agents, I normally have to find them in all different pockets in Dallas-Fort Worth, but it's great that we're not far. So I wanted to hit first. I always kind of talk, and I know you haven't been in real estate actually all that long. How many years have you been in it?
Almost 9 years.
Okay. So you're a teenager.
You could consider me that.
But you've certainly done enough to get yourself a lot of success. You've won icon events with the company that you and I share, the broker. It's funny, I talk to agents in our group pretty often, and our stories are so different, but it's such a big company that, you know, there's plenty of people we've never talked to or reached out to that are just absolutely killing it out there. So that's always the fun part of doing this. So you've been doing it about 9 years. What got you into real estate?
So I was 24 years old when I got into real estate, and I was sitting at the closing table closing my first house, and my agent asked me, the agent who I found on Zillow, and the agent asked me, have you ever considered a career in real estate? And I was like, you know what? That's a great question. And I had pivoted everything. I immediately got into real estate school just a few weeks later, finished real estate school, got licensed, and that's how I was recruited into real estate at the closing table, the purchase of my first home.
Who's your first broker?
Keller Williams, proudly. And I loved being at KW. It was a great foundation for me, a great foundation builder. I was on a team for 3.5 years, doing between 100 and 400 homes per year as they continued to grow. And I was raised in real estate, like I said, doing online leads, having to answer the calls within 90 seconds, really high-level sales, great practice, conversion rates. And I believe that's really where I started being able to convert at a really high level and also connecting with agents. Keller Williams was incredible, but I was at an office that it was the same people there every single day. And something just intrigued me, and I know we'll get into this, but something just intrigued me about I'm building these strong relationships at this KW office in person. And so when obviously a cloud brokerage came around, it was something like, okay, is this going to work? I'm at a brick and mortar right now where people I can reach and talk to all of the time. And then I switched over to EXP in December 2021.
Okay. So you're there for about half your career, and then a little bit more than half your career.
Right.
And then now you've been with EXP since 2021. You know, there's been that big transition. A lot of people will leave brick and mortar to go to the cloud base. And I think you and I know, you know, it's great opportunity of having a fixed building where everybody can come to, and you have a community, which is a hard thing for cloud-based brokerages to compete with. But the reality of the future is going to have to be leaner, higher leverage, and cloud-based is really the only way to do that. So I think we are in the space for the future. But the community element is a problem. That's why I set up, you know, this podcast and why I do community events. And you're going to come out and teach at one of my events as well, which I appreciate.
I'm excited.
And I just think the collaboration's a really, really clever thing. But I'll tell you one thing, you think community, but one of the things you don't get is collaboration's a tough thing when everybody that shows up in the office is all competing with each other.
You're right.
Like I tell you, Lauren, anything that I'm doing that I'm having success with, and you're going to do the same thing with me, we collaborate. I'm
Yes.
not going to be Lauren and you're not going to be Shaune. No matter what I do, if I copied everything you're doing, I'm still not going to be you. And you and I know that, but we're also not standing in the same building, going to the same neighborhood and trying to shop the same buyers and sellers. That's why the community might be there, but the collaboration's not.
And I think that's an interesting thing that you bring up because not everybody's going to like me and not all clients are going to like me. Not all clients are going to like you, and leads and everything like that. At KW and in real estate, I've studied personalities, especially the disc profile, at a really, really high level. And so being able to tailor how I communicate to so many different people, but ultimately you're not going to convert 100% of the people that come into your life. And that's okay with me because, like you just mentioned, the collaboration aspect of it is I love being a connector. Somebody really high up in my organization at EXP has called me, since I joined EXP, a serial connector. And so I love being able to essentially grab a needle and sew different communities together, sew different situations together, where whether it's buying, selling, leasing, investing, whatever it may be, that if I'm not the person for you, that's okay. But let me be a connector to help you find success in whatever your endeavor and whatever facet that may be. You know what I mean?
Sure. And you got to be in a giving mindset where you're helping others because you have to think of others and you have to
Absolutely.
think of the person you're talking to.
I know.
And that isn't come from everyone. A lot of them are, I've got to keep everything and try to, fight everyone off. And man, you're going to be very lonely when that's the way you approach things.
You
Um,
are, and we've got 31,000 licensed agents here in DFW. And something that I found to bring me great joy and success was giving other agents my SOPs and different items of my business that I found great success in, and giving them the direct links to it. Canva, Word docs, whatever it may be, email templates, giving over my listing presentations to people that are still in my market or nationwide or whatever it is, because it's just something that I didn't have before. While I loved my previous brokerage, there were many successful agents that I wanted to learn from, but all of their systems and processes were under lock and key. And so when I pivoted, I essentially put a steroid shot into my business, and I was like, okay, you know what? The agents that are selling 100, 200, 300 million dollars per year, how can I get what they're using to run these successful businesses and implement it into my business and my life? And that's what they did. This is a spirit of, and I know other brokerages are like this too, especially with cloud-based brokerages where you're connecting with agents nationwide and worldwide. But all you have to do is ask. Something you will frequently hear me say is the worst that they could say is no. And I've never been told no. Any item that I ever need from my business to improve my day to day, my year over year goals, how to work with my husband in business, how I'm a new mom, how to run a business and have children at home. It's just something that everybody's willing to share. It's specifically within EXP. And so that's what I love, is that out of 31,000 licensed agents here in DFW, you've got people that are just willing to flow everything into your life and your business.
so that's an important foundation of what you've put a lot of energy and effort into. And I'm sure it's since leaving Keller Williams, you focused a lot on this agent to agent referral opportunity, right? That's
Absolutely.
again, that's getting outside of your space and that's helping other agents. It's creating opportunities for other agents. You really have to get a lot more selfless to consider
Mm-hmm.
how do I grow other people's businesses too. So let's talk something about that because that's going to be a really high specific thing that you're really excited about is that agent to
Right.
agent referral system. Let's talk about that.
75% of my business is agent to agent referrals. And I had partnered with an agent before that did agent to agent referrals at a really high level. And so I'm not a sugarcoater, so let me get into it. This is something that really came about, I would say about maybe 2 to 3 years ago, because all of these cheerleading groups, is what they were called, would go and drop your name into all of these different referral groups, and nobody knew where they were coming from. Nobody knew how these clubs were built. When an agent in Detroit was looking for an agent in Dallas, Texas, how did they get so many people to comment their names? And it was these cheerleading groups, as they're called. And it was just something that really expanded my mindset. And I was like, okay, it just took off. And ultimately, what I did was I created such a stringent process and a stringent background and reputation for people to say, hey, I can actually trust her, not just giving her a referral, but handling them from start to finish and beyond. Because yes, I operate with collaboration over competition, but I will go head to head with another agent here in DFW all day long at a chance to serve the client at the highest level, but not just the client, the agent as well. Because the agent making the connection wants to be a superstar, right? If you hand somebody a lead or you hand somebody a referral, no matter if it's a cold lead, a family or friend, and they're moving to another part of the nation, and you hand them to another agent, you want to have 110% confidence that they're going to get to the closing table and that they're going to not just close it and move on to the next person. And so I found gaps in it. And I was just like, okay, I can really just take this to the next level. My husband, who's my business partner, and we run a team together here in DFW, he did sales at a very high level, and international sales at a very, very high level in his previous career. When I retired him out of corporate 2 years ago, I trained him just like I was trained. I said, your sales experience and your follow-up specifically is what's going to take us to the next level. And that is how we are getting so many agent to agent referrals, because it just spread like a wildfire. One person said, I referred a person to Lauren and Spencer with Clubhouse Realty Group, and the client is more than thrilled. And it's just, something that just continues to spread. And it's been a huge blessing to my life and my business, being able to connect with so many agents, but having that as a foundational aspect for our business for agent to agent referrals.
I think it's a valuable opportunity. And you and I didn't talk about, what you would want to share or promote. Do you have a website or something they can sign up and be a part of that?
I always direct people to my Instagram.
Okay.
And if you don't have Instagram, that's okay. I'll give my phone number and my email address to anybody and everybody that wants it. But my Instagram is at Hey Lauren Michelle, and I have agents nationwide drop into my DMs saying, hey, I've got a family member, friend, a lead. I just had one about an hour ago, a co-agent in Connecticut say, hey, I have somebody that's interested in selling their home in McKinney. And they're moving to my location in Connecticut, and I found you on Instagram. Now, I don't have a huge Instagram following. My algorithm has pushed me into so many different aspects on the Explore page that I believe when I looked yesterday, I had over 40,000 profile views in the past 30 days. There's other agents and really amazing friends of mine that are doing Instagram and social media at a much higher level. But connecting with me, if not on phone and not on email and things like that, Instagram's a super casual place where we can discuss what their wants and needs are. Or, like I said, I love sharing what I do. And I've taught this at a really high level to Go Bethke's community and many other different organizations, is that if you want to learn how I'm doing it, I'm teaching it on September 18th for your people, Shaune. And it's just it's something that I'm happy to share because it changed my life. Honestly, the money changed my life, the volume and the connections.
I love that. And we'll make sure all this gets posted on the YouTube section whenever I get it posted there as well. So we'll have all those connections there as well. So one other thing, and we could talk about agent to agent for a while, but we only have so much time. Let's move on to the next thing. It's another really key component, and you and I kind of talked about this, is that there are places to collect reviews and stuff, and there's a big value add for having at least a certain amount at a minimum.
Right.
We don't have to have hundreds, but we need to at least cover something. So when people land on you, they look you up, you've got some level of credibility. So where would you post those? Where would you encourage to grow and expand that place?
Okay, so I don't know how I came up with this. I think it was just the ingenuity that I have, Shaune, very humbly saying that. But I've got a hack to collecting Google reviews that I even taught in Miami at EXPCon to like 300 to 400 agents that were in the room. And the thing is that you have to think about businesses in your location where you're looking. And when you and your wife go out to dinner, where are you looking for reviews? If another agent is like, if I'm looking for another agent, I'm not going to look at their Zillow reviews humbly. I'm looking to see if they're on Google. And so what I do and how I started collecting so many reviews and honest reviews, I'm not sending this to my dad to leave me a review or, my brother's girlfriend and things like that, people that I haven't worked with. And a lot of agents do that, and teach their own. That's fine. But for me, I wanted my reviews to be a true reflection of how I run my business. And so for every transaction, here's what I do. Every single transaction, I send out a minimum of 5 review requests, and it's always a request for a 5-star review. And if you feel like I didn't deserve a 5-star review, please discuss it with me. And that way we can learn moving forward best practices and what I could have done differently. So I always ask both parties, either buyers or sellers. That's 2 reviews right there. So you're asking buyer A or seller A, buyer B or seller B. I'm also asking the other agent to leave me a 5-star review on what it was like to work with my husband and I during this transaction. The fourth person, or essentially the third thing that I'm always asking, is the escrow officer. I want the title company to leave me a review on how my communication was, how organized I was, how I hit my timelines. And I attribute a lot of that to my transaction coordinator, Julie Masterpalo, who's a freaking superstar and is a huge addition and value in my business. If I worked with a different inspector, I will ask them. I will ask a lender to leave me a 5-star review. And so if you just think about how many, on average, one transaction, you've got 18 different people involved in this transaction. And so why are we not asking and capitalizing on how many people could go and leave us a 5-star review if they just got done working with us? On average here in DFW, our closing time is 30 to 35 days. And so if somebody worked with you for a month long, you go to McDonald's and you had a great meal, or you go to a doctor's and you had a great time and a great appointment, you're going to leave these people reviews. And so I think agents find themselves, hey, I'm just going to ask a buyer or seller for a review. And I just really took it to the next level. And I'm like, why are we not asking our vendor partners and people that worked with us for a month on average to leave us a 5-star review? And to get the more reviews, the better. You move up into Google SEO, you just have better connections. And ultimately, it shows your reputation on what it's like to work with you.
I love the thought. It reminds me, I spent about 10 years in human resources before I came into selling real estate, and the personality assessment and stuff like that, the DISC profile and all that. It just reminds me back to like Myers-Briggs and looking
Yeah,
at person. That was a big thing in the early 2000s when I was I was vice president of human resources. But what it also reminded me of what you're talking about is you can get, your boss can give you a review, but when I was in college, one of the new things that were coming out was 360 reviews.
yeah,
Right. So that's where I look at, okay, that's great. The boss gives me a review, but how about your peers?
right.
How about the people that work for you? How about your clients? How about your customers? What do they all think about how you interact and deal with them? And I know naturally I'm tougher on my vendors than I'm going to be on, the other client or the other agent. Right. So
Sure.
I know I want to make sure I might be curt, but I don't want to be a jerk. So
Yeah,
tell me if I'm crossing the line. I want to know.
right.
So that's a great thought, and where I thought about going, and you can do this today, all the people that you've done business before, I think you should start there, right? We
Absolutely.
all have an inspector, we all have a lender, we all have they have an incentive to talk you up, so that's
Right.
a great place to start. At least you get 4 or 5 right there, and then going forward, any new relationship you've never had, let's get a review from them.
I agree with you. And I maxed it out at 4 per day. You know how Google works and how it's an ever evolving technology. And so I really max out at 4 per day. I don't want to be flagged. They will flag you for fraud and scam reviews and things like that. So just another tip.
Okay, yeah, so you have limitations, right? We can't
Sure.
buy down the last 20 transactions
Yeah,
and try to knock them all
exactly.
down.
Exactly.
Um, you're asked to speak on, I know, a number of panels and stuff, and you and I have kind of talked about that, like IRLs and things like that. Why is it? What about what you're sharing and stuff like that? Do they really call upon to say, can you come out? Is it the agent to agent referrals, or just different tips and things that you come up with? What do you think?
It's number one, it's my energy. And so inside and outside of EXP, I just went at I was like 20, no, 30 weeks pregnant. My husband and I flew to Miami to speak for Gold Bar, and with agents that were doing a billion plus in production per year. And it wasn't me speaking on a topic, it was me bringing energy to a room and having it's more so having the, I would say, experience in bringing energy and sewing together so many different topics that I feel like I'm very well spoken in events and things like that. It's not about my following. It's not about anything like that, because I don't even have a lot of people that follow me. But I think when people ask me to speak, it's because they know that A, I'm going to show up and I'm not going to let them down. But B, I'm going to be really bringing people together and bringing a collaboration and a community together that might not be done by somebody else. And when I was asked last year, I did 4 panels at EXPCon in Miami where we had almost 5,000 agents attending. It was something that was life-changing to me. I do a lot of things with young professionals in the Women's Impact Network here in DFW too. And it's just something I have a passion for, because I didn't feel like this 3 years ago. I doubted myself. I didn't want to be on camera. It was something that I wasn't so confident in doing. And this is where this mentality came up of why me versus why not me, and the different opportunities that I have laying out in front of me that I don't even see yet.
Talk a little bit more about the why me versus why not me mentality. I mean, that was something that, I know you shared with me offline. What does that mean to you?
I was looking, social media is such an intriguing thing in our world today. And you see people going to show these multi-million dollar homes, or they're closing 10 homes per month, or they're traveling all over the world with their friends and they've got young kids at home, whatever it is. You look at social media and you're like, man, why am I not doing that? It's a very, very common thing, and it can be very dangerous. And I learned that these people, a lot of agents, were going to show homes and tour homes that were vacant, or just doing property tours. But you don't know what you don't know, right? And so a consumer is going online and they're like, wow, Joe Blow is going through 30 different properties per month and he must have so many clients, and I want to sign up with this agent. When in reality, he's probably just going to do property tours and things like that. But people don't know what they don't know. And so I was looking at this like, why am I not doing this? And instead of asking, why are you picking me to do these speaking engagements? Why are these clients choosing me? Why are these multi-million dollar sellers coming to me and flocking to me to come and sell their properties when my previous average sales price was $375,000? And it was like a light bulb moment went off for me, Shaune, that I just said, why would they not pick me? Why would they not pick somebody with high energy, that's a believer, that is trustworthy, loyal, and honest, doesn't sugarcoat the process for me? Why would I not be chosen over somebody else? And so instead of putting myself on the back burner mentally, it was something that just clicked. And I speak a lot about this to our young professionals as well, because we've got 19-year-olds in our young professionals group. That's almost 15,000 members strong. And I'm telling them, you have to put yourself in a position to where you believe that you've 100% deserve to be chosen for whatever opportunities in front of you. Why would you not be chosen? Why would you not have the opportunities that other people have? You have to go out there. You have to put yourself out there. You have to believe in yourself. And it sounds so cliche for somebody to say, you need to believe in yourself. Put yourself out there, raw. And it's real. It's crazy. And I did it. And I had opportunities knocking at my door like I've never had before. I never thought I'd be selected to join the board of EXP's Women's Impact Network. There were over 360 applications for a 14-person board. And I was one of the people that was selected, and I'm now vice chair. And I never thought I'd be selected to speak on panels at EXPCon in Miami. I never thought I'd be selected to join and speak for Gold Bar in Miami, and to go to all of these different just opportunities. And so this why me versus why not me mentality is something that I really, really ingrain, not just in real estate, but in my friends and family too. And it's just something that obviously you can tell I'm super passionate about it, but I believe in the people around me. And I believe that if I'm going to make it to the top and you make it to the top, that's going to bring me the joy in life. And that's all I need, money and success and things like that aside. But when my circle succeeds, that's something that really is fulfilling to me. And so that's why I just really started to believe in this mentality, and just started to call it the why me versus why not me mentality. So that way people can start reflecting on these different opportunities.
Sure. And mindset's important, right? I
Sure.
mean, I think most agents are defeated like in the slow market that we're in. I mean, they just get so beat down by, there's not a lot of transactions. They don't have a lot of energy. They're not bringing new ways to approach their business. They're staying consistently stale and the business isn't growing because they just don't step out beyond that and they can't get out of their own mindset. I think that's really, really important. I love that you focus on that. Like one of the things that agents are kind of in this fend for yourself moment, and it's a lot
Hmm.
of competition versus collaboration. What do you think about that?
I think those are the agents that might have the longevity in the market, like the agents that don't have any filter. If there's a brick wall in front of them, they're going to run through it. And that's how I feel all of the time. It's something that is very limiting. And everybody's going to run their business a different way. I had an agent tell me last week, like, I've been doing this for 50 years. Like, how do you know better than me on an inspection report? And it's things like that. I take a step back and I'm like, wow, if these people are running their business like this, they've been in the business for 50 years, whatever. Being in the business for 50 years, 40, 30, whatever it may be, you could sell one home a year. You could sell 0 homes a year and still be in the business and just keep your license active. But this fend for yourself thing, I think is just very like 2020 to 2023 energy. When COVID was developing and at its height, I'm speaking specifically to my market, that you were going up against 20, 30, 40 different offers on one single property. Nobody wanted to share where they were getting their leads from. It was just like a very tight knit, like, keep everything to myself because I don't want somebody else to figure out what I'm doing. The agents that are going to succeed are the agents that pick up the phone, respond, follow up, and don't have these blinders on that they can't have somebody that's in 10th place come and cross them tomorrow, because all it takes is one click. It happens just like that. It's the hungry agents that are going to succeed, and it's the people that are sitting back waiting for leads to come to them, waiting for their phone to ring, rather than being a hunter and going to get it. So I don't vibe with this fend for yourself mentality. I think let's go ahead and get your closest agents, get agents that are falling behind, because that's what I do a lot. People say this is a very slow market. This is the largest production I've ever done in a year, the most money I've ever made in a year. And we happen to be in our slowest market, but that's honestly just because I go to the freaking walls, I pound the pavement, and I bring other people with me. And energy is a huge part of that, to be honest, because people want to follow success.
They do. Yeah. And mindset is traveling through, a lot of our conversation now. And I know that talks about getting that right kind of energy and focus and that, I share the sentiment, there's no real estate problem I can't solve. There's no
Right.
transaction I can't work through. And there's no one I'm afraid to talk to. I don't care how many houses they've sold.
Right.
I don't have a problem getting through a lot of that, but most agents don't have that mindset. They don't have their own self-confidence. They don't believe they can do it and that hold themselves back. One of the mindset building things is going to events and networking hours and different things like that
Mhm.
to to stop being a silo and being on your own. Let's get out and connect with others. So what do you tell agents about that opportunity to get out there and come to an AHA event tomorrow, as an example,
Perfect.
or whenever events like that are happening in their local community? What do you share with them about going to events?
Man, Shaune, it makes me emotional because people get so stuck in a brick and mortar. You can see me, look at me. I'm a glass case of emotion, just like Ron Burgundy said, because I'm so passionate about networking. And here's why: because so many people work to do this alone. They want to figure it out by themselves. They want to be in their home office or tucked into a Starbucks, figuring out how they're going to make money, how they're going to pay bills, how they're going to buy Christmas presents for their family. And it freaking crushes me because so many people are intimidated by going to networking events or by going to sit in a class that they don't know anybody. And here's what I have to tell you, and here's what I've said before, and here's what I continue to preach: doing these classes, going to show up and going to meet people and other agents and asking agents online, hey, what are you doing? I see that it's working for you and I need some help, is a lot easier than not being able to pay your bills, than not being able to buy Christmas presents, than missing a car payment. You're telling me that you're too intimidated to go to these events in person or reach out to somebody online or have a conversation with somebody, and compared to the ramifications of you not doing it. For me, I did no events up until 3 years ago. Specifically, when I was at KW, I was encouraged not to go to their two huge events that they host per year from my team leader that did not believe going to events was going to be worth it. And I fully believed it until I came to EXP. And this isn't a freaking sales pitch. This is for anybody in any industry, and this is going to work. That I said, you know what? I'm going to invest the money to go to these events. I'm going to fly across the country. I'm going to drive 5 hours to San Antonio. I'm going to invest these thousands of dollars, because if I meet one person that can send me a sale or send me a referral or connect me with somebody that I want to know that's going to change my life or business, then it's 100% worth it. And that's what happened when EXP had shareholders. That was one of my first events that I ever went to a few years ago. I invested the money to drive down to San Antonio, 5 hours by myself, stay in a hotel, go all in. And my all-in purchase, or my all-in expense for that one event, was about $2,000. I got one referral off that net me close to $9,000. And that's when the light bulb went off. And I said, wow, if I can just keep doing this, then I make my money back on what I've invested. But you're not only learning in the process and communicating and doing all of these things, but it's something that I just went all in. I did not plan this, I promise you. When I go to events now, I do little branded, this is like a chapstick. I ordered 200, 300 chapsticks to hand out at EXPCon in Miami. And off these freaking chapsticks, they cost me $187, all of these chapsticks. And I shipped them to Miami, and I've made $20,000, $30,000 from referrals, just from people saying, hey, the chapstick girl. And you know what? I like being the chapstick girl. So these networking events and going to the classes, it can be intimidating up front. You feel like in the beginning, a lot of people, being honest, feel like it's a waste of their time. Why am I going to go sit in this class? This is something I already know. But it's not always about what you're being taught. It's about the people that are also in the room, the energy, the experience, and knowledge, just everything that they've got to be able to give you. And it's one conversation away from changing your business.
There's a lot of value there. You shared a whole lot of things, but I want to focus on one thing that really rang true to me. So I've always been intentional about having an office away from my house.
Right.
I come in and I do things that agents don't do. I work for 6 hours straight at my office.
Right.
And that's it. And then I pick my kids up early. Now I've got a 4-year-old in pre-K at my elementary school, so I have to go pick her up at 3 o'clock. So my office hours end about 2:30, 2:40 every single day, and I go straight and go pick her up. And I can still take phone calls until about 5. But I'm real intentional about going in the office. I would be willing to say that 99% of agents are sitting at home working in their own office, and they only think about buyers and sellers, and they don't think about expanding their business and creating these relationships. And I realized that, because I go to a lot of events, I wanted to be real intentional. I wanted to go to every week. I wanted to go to a new real estate agent event. I wanted either a title company or mortgage company or someone throwing the event, bring me new agents. And I'm going to connect with at least 3 or 4 at every event. I'm going to get their name, email, and phone number. I'm going to add them into my monthly newsletter so I can stay with them. And then I'm going to give and give and give and add community and give them podcasts and give them things to share. You can do this with buyers and sellers too.
100%.
My connections, agents, and I'm not even doing it for the referral aspect. I just want to build relationships. But and mine's a much bigger mountain to climb, because you and I connecting and talking, we're probably not going to refer each other stuff because we're in the same space.
Sure.
But I know that you have agents and people in your life, and I have agents and people in my life, and we can continue to share those things. And there's something bigger that's going to come out of it. But people are sitting at their home in their home office, and they're not getting intentional about connecting with other people that are really good in this business and willing to give to them.
But Shaune, I think what you just said is you've created a life by design. That's the goal. Is we're in real estate and we're entrepreneurs for a reason. And you've created this life by design to where you are home with your family in the evenings, and you're not having sacrifices And that's what works for you. And I'd be, humble to say that that probably was a goal of yours in the very beginning, is that I don't want to be working until midnight every single night, 7 days a week, where my kids are knocking on my office door and I can't answer because I'm so busy and bogged down with work. You've created this life that says, this is what works for Shaune. And that's a cool thing about real estate, is that everybody's different. If a home office works for you, great. If going to the office every single day for 6 hours works for you, great. There's just so many different things and nuances to it that we can really just piece together to make, how lame is this, but we can piece it together to make this overall life puzzle of what we want our lives to look like now, but also in the future, right?
Sure. And I love all that. I think that's a lot of messages, and it's a lot about mindset, about connecting with others. You've shared a lot of really good, valuable things. I do have your Instagram handle, Hey Lauren Michelle.
Right.
And then you've got Lauren Michelle on Facebook. And then you've got team at clubhouserealty.group.com. No,
Yeah.
clubhouserealitygroup.com.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got those. I'll get those things posted as well. And then your main point was to connect with you on Instagram for anyone that wants to find ways that you can work with them in the future.
Yeah, Instagram, send me a text message. Call me. Like, I'm an outlier. I answer my phone when people call me.
Yeah.
Not all agents do that. I know you know that too, but it's like, send me a text message, call me. If you've got a question, if you want my listing presentation, if you want a class on agent to agent referrals for your team, if you need a connection in New York City or whatever it may be, like, I'm your girl. That's why they call me a serial connector. I can connect you to friggin' anything in this world. I got a guy for everything. That's something I always say. It's like, I got a guy and I can figure it out.
A lot of valuable opportunities there too. But I appreciate you, Lauren, for jumping in and doing this podcast with me. We could definitely go much longer. There's a lot of things we can dive into, but I don't want to give it all away yet. We got to give them a reason to come back to the next show, right? So we've got a in-house training you're going to do here as well. I'll have that on my Facebook group. I'll set up that invite and get that set up as well. And I'm excited about your connecting presentation then.
Thank you. Me too, Shaune. And I don't do this for everybody, but it's people and agents and men like you that are opening ways for others to succeed and just come into a space that's very comfortable, but also accountable. So thank you for having me.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us for Real Estate Success CFW. Again, if you can, just subscribe if you like what you see. I've got a new podcast every single week and a lot more good content to come. And again, all the links and stuff for Lauren are found below. Until next time, have a high performance week. I appreciate it. That wraps up another episode of Real Estate Success DFW. I hope you're leaving with new insights that push your real estate career forward. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with fellow agents who's ready to succeed. And if you're interested in working together or have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me directly. My personal phone is 214-228-0383. Let's connect and make real estate success happen together. Until next time, keep pushing forward. I'm Shaune Corbett, and this is the Real Estate Success DFW. Have a high performance week.